Mike Nellis. You're talking.
We're live.
We're live. Mike Nellis and Don Lemon. Mike, I haven't seen you in a while. We have not done a show. What's going on? Are you avoiding me? What's happening?
No. You canceled the last 2 weeks, my friend, but I think you've been a little busy. When does the merch go up? If I half expected you to show up with a mugshot T-shirt at this moment.
No, because there are people who have been asking me. Seriously, I've had people call and say, "Can we make some free Don Lemon and whatever merch?" I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. This is serious.
I did a podcast yesterday with these young guys in Michigan, and they were complaining about what happened to you. And one of the guys was like, "I hate this administration so much for making me say things like free Don Lemon." It's fucking insane.
And then, they're not fans of mine, but they want me free.
They weren't. It doesn't. I don't think it had anything to do with you. It just was like the fact that you have to say free Don Lemon in any context just sounds so insane. Like, did you see? I mean, you were in the slammer when it happened. Did you see the press release that Amnesty International sent out on your behalf?
No. What happened?
You have to. So I mean, you were whatever was happening to you on Friday, and they released a statement demanding that President Donald Trump release Don Lemon. And I tweeted this. I was like, go back in time 10 years and explain the sentence. Amnesty International demands the release of Don Lemon to President Donald Trump, and no one would believe you. But that's how insane what happened to you is.
It is a crazy world that we live in, right? What did you think?
What did I woke up at like 5 a.m. and was like getting through my work, and I think it was like 6:30 that it rolled in or something. And I was pissed. I was worried about you, but like I knew you were tough, so like I wasn't worried about it. I know the case is bullshit, but they came after you because you're growing like a weed and you're speaking out, and so I got mad. I mean, I spent basically that entire morning rage tweeting all morning about it, and I did a bunch of TV hits. They kept introducing me as Don Lemon's friend, and I was like, whoa, I don't know if we're friends yet. Like that's it's a stretch. We just have a Substack show together. But I felt bad. I felt bad, but not for you. Like I felt bad for them because like I knew you were going to make the most of this and you'd be fine.
Yeah.
So.
Have you been on with these crazy conservatives that are like trying to make this into something that it's not?
Yeah, I did 2 Newsmax hits about it, and I did News Nation over the weekend, and they're like, Don Lemon stormed into a church and disrupted people's faith, and he's destroying our religious sanctum, and all this sanctimonious bullshit. It was very silly. It was very silly stuff. I mean, it's a waste of time. They should be going after actual criminals. Unfortunately, they'd have to look inside the White House first.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
I needed a laugh, so thank you. Do you think that deep down they know this?
Yeah. I think they will abuse the power of the federal government to go after anybody that they think is a threat to them. So it isn't so much that you did anything wrong, which you didn't. You were just reporting. It was that they were like, wow, Don Lemon's got 1.3 million followers on YouTube and he's causing us problems, and let's get him scared and let's try to bleed him of some legal money, and it's going to backfire in their face. I saw you gained like 600,000 new followers across platforms in the last 3-4 days. So like it's blown up in their face. Were you on Kimmel 2 nights ago, right?
On Kimmel 2 nights ago. I think it's actually more than that, but I'm not counting that. But I think, I have people who do that. Of course, my representatives are like, they send me the stats or they tell me, and I was just like, that they said, Don, we know that's not what it's about for you, but just so you know. Yeah. And I think it's like 1 million over all platforms or something like that.
All they've done is elevate you more. Like there's more people that are going to listen to you and believe in you and get behind you now, and that's why it was a really stupid thing for them to do.
That's all well and good, but for me, it's more than that. It's not really about me. It's about the First Amendment, and it's about freedom of the press, because don't you think they're trying to chill journalists, and they've managed to neuter the mainstream corporate media, and now it's us folks who are out here unfiltered and unvarnished, who are close to the ground, who are bringing folks the real information, and they want to control it. And, it's not going through gatekeepers. And that's it's a lot concerning to them.
Yeah, I think the way they wield power is they want everybody to be scared. They want you to be scared to report on something. They want me to be scared to share my opinion. They want somebody that's going to go out and protest to be worried that they're going to get shot 3 times in the back like Alex Preddy did. So I think that's what it is. It's about creating a culture of fear. And the way these guys win is if they silence somebody like you, or getting people to not show up to ICE protests. So I think it's the same use of power across the board. And they're able to do that for this sort of, corporate billionaire elite class, because all they care about is money. But the rest of us don't care about money. We actually care about this damn country and what they're doing to it.
Yeah. So when we were coming on, you were just yapping. You were talking. Hey, you said I was in the slammer, so at least I could say that.
Well, I think you need one person in your life that's making light of it, just at least.
All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, Kimmel was pretty serious, but he cracked some jokes. But I mean, Kimmel's actually a pretty good journalist. I mean, I know he's a comedian. I know he's a talk show host, but he did his homework and he was actually pretty good. I was impressed. I was
I thought it was a
impressed.
great interview. I was glad that you did it.
Thank you. So,
Yeah.
you were saying that, which I did not know about because I've been sitting here in the camera talking to. I've spoken today to Raphael Warnock. I spoke with Alexandria Ocasio Cortez yesterday. I spoke today also with Senator Mark Kelly. Later, I'm speaking with Senator Elizabeth Warren. And so I've had some great guests who come on and to, talk about and to reconfirm the importance of our First Amendment. And I'm happy about that. So I say that to say, watch the show on
Yeah.
all platforms because you'll get to see all those folks, but also because I haven't been able to engage in the news as much as I would like to. And you said the vice president gave an interview,
Yeah.
and then you could talk. We need to discuss.
Yeah, well, I just saw it beforehand. I forget who it was with, but it might have been with the Daily News. But the reporter who did the interview asked him if he's willing to apologize to Alex Preddy's family because Vance has called Preddy a domestic terrorist and an assassin and suggested that Preddy left his house the day that he was murdered, intending to create harm to ICE agents, which is a lie, based solely on the fact that he had a legal firearm and a concealed carry license. And Vance said no. He's like, no, I'm not going to apologize because I believe that that individual left his house that day planning to disrupt law enforcement investigations, planning to hurt ICE agents. And I mean, he's a miserable piece of shit, and I dislike him greatly. And he has no class that he can't even admit that what he said was wrong.
Are you surprised at all? I am. Every day, I'm not. I don't know if I should say I'm surprised. Every day, I'm taken aback by the level of heartlessness
Yeah.
that this administration exudes and some of the things that come out of their mouths. And I wonder how any human being who is, um, who claim to be God fearing or Constitution believing, all of those, how those things can come out of their mouth. For people who are supposed to have empathy, no
Yeah.
empathy, no sort of caring, none of it. Like, how does that even come out of his mouth or anybody's mouth, or Pam Bondi or any of the, Kristi Noem or any of the people who are in this administration?
Yeah, well, they're fake Christians. They're fake constitutionalists. Like everything that they claim to believe in is circumstantial. And I think what happened to you is actually the perfect example of that because they spent the last 3, 4 days, really the last 2 weeks since the incident of the church, arguing that you're not a journalist, which has been your profession for 20, 30 plus years. But they'll argue that Jack Probstek, the Pizzagate guy, is a journalist that can go ask questions at the White House press briefing, which is ridiculous. So I think to me, it's
Or the kid who went to Minnesota
yeah, Nick
and yeah,
Shirley.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I think they want the Constitution for them, but not for us. They want the right to free speech for them, but not us. The Second Amendment for them, but not us. And I think that that's completely screwed up. And what they do is they wrap themselves in the flag, they wrap themselves in their faith, they wrap themselves in this bullshit perception about family values. And my people, the Democrats, run away from that stuff because we get scared when we own all that stuff far more than they do. And I think for guys like Vance, Vance doesn't believe in anything. He won't defend his wife when she's facing racist attacks from his own party, won't defend the Constitution when his own boss is trampling on it, claiming we should nationalize elections and have the Republican Party take them over in blue
We
states.
need to
Like
talk
it's
about that, by the
yeah,
way.
we do.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. No, it's just I mean, this is just a group of people that don't believe in anything. It's a party fueled by petty grievance and greed. And say what you will about the Democrats, they ain't perfect, but at least we believe in trying to help people. And it's as simple as that to me.
I think that is that is a thing that you've said that we both agree on, that we can find some common ground on, is that, and I've been saying this since the election. Look, I don't agree with everything Democrats do. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican, but I do believe that the Democratic Party is the only party that's fighting for democracy right now and for the
Yeah.
people. I don't believe that they're doing such a great job at it. It can be improved, but at least they're trying. And so, I'm on the side of people who believe in democracy, who believe in the Constitution, who believe in the Bill of Rights. Republicans are just not there right now. They are not. They claim
No.
that, as you said, freedom of speech is for them and not for us,
Right.
meaning the rest of the people who don't believe like them.
Yep. I get asked this all the time, especially after the election. I got asked this is like, why are you a Democrat? And I always say it's Democratic Party is the only party that gives a shit about whether or not you have a good paying job, whether you could buy a house, whether you could retire with dignity, whether our democracy functions. And like, they're not particularly good at it at the moment. I think they have been good at it in the past, like when Obama was president, but it's the only party that cares. And there's no empathy, there's no compassion. Everything in the Republican Party is greed, and it's centered around one man. And I don't know if you saw this. I think this came out Friday afternoon. It was a new piece from the New Yorker that Trump has made $4.5 billion in the last year off of the presidency. 4.5 billion. And the average American's living paycheck to paycheck. If they get sick, they're going to go broke. So, and he promised to fix all of that. He promised to make everything less expensive. He promised that we were going to have less chaos. Everything was going to be better. And it's not. It's a disaster. And now you've got multiple polls coming out saying that people preferred it when Biden was president, which is, people were really pissed when Biden left office. So for them to be reminiscing about Joe Biden so soon is kind of crazy to me.
I said it. I said, look, the metrics of the economy, all good right now under Joe Biden, because the economy was in the shitter because, let's not forget, because of Donald Trump's terrible handling of COVID. And then
Yes.
Joe Biden had to dig us out of that, just like Barack Obama had to dig us out of what? George W. Bush's economy. Remember, we had the mortgage crisis and all that shit. I don't know if you remember the economy you know this, was off a cliff. They had like emergency meetings about what they were going to do because they thought that America was going to default on everything. Do you
Yep.
remember that? And then who was the Fed chair there, or the advisor? What's this curly haired guy for Obama? I forget his name.
Uh,
Um,
his name
who was
escapes me.
you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know who you're talking
Had
about.
had to come in and rescue the economy, and they did it. And then, okay, fine. After that, here comes, after 2 terms of Barack Obama and our economy was going great. Mortgage rates were low. And then we get Trump, and then it goes into the shitter,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And it's well, it wouldn't have been because of COVID. Yeah, okay. But you didn't take COVID seriously. You were telling people it was like the flu, it was gonna go away. Don't take the vaccine. And you threw Barack Obama's playbook, right? For emergency playbook or protocol for a pandemic, you threw it out the window. You're like, this is bullshit. And then we had the consequences of your terrible leadership, economic
Yep.
leadership. And then Joe Biden comes in, same shit, has to rescue it from whatever, has to rescue another Republican president. And then he takes office, he gets the economy back on track. People, of course, vote him out or didn't vote for Kamala Harris. And now you have Donald Trump, who is the recipient and the beneficiary of what Joe Biden was doing. And then he fucks that up with the tariffs and other shit. And now here we are.
Yeah.
And so it makes me so mad that these people are. I hate to go on a rant, but I'm
No,
going
you're
to
good.
do it. It makes me so mad that he's making, what is it, 4.5 or whatever it is, 4 point whatever $billion, when these people can't barely afford eggs, they can barely afford gas, and he lies to them. Gas is cheap here, and price of goods are up. You can barely afford any of those things. Your healthcare costs, your premiums are rising, and he is a billionaire many times over, and you are trying to figure out where your next meal is going to come from. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yep. Yep. And they love to, and I'm going to piggyback off this rant because I'm excited about this, but like they love to talk about the price of gas. The average car payment in America today is $750 a month. So what's the point of cheap gas if your car is like 40% more expensive than it was 10 years ago? It's not fucking useful if people can't afford to drive a car. And that's, by the way, includes a lot of used cars, because the used car price market in this country is completely out of whack. And then they love to complain anytime you bring up the economy to these, because I do Newsmax and Fox News and all that. They bring up Biden and inflation. And I like to remind them a big part of the reason that there was so much inflation under Biden was because of the Trump administration's reaction to the COVID pandemic, because they created the PPP loans and then the earned tax retention credit, the ERTC, which funneled so much money into the economy, by the way, to a lot of people who didn't need those loans in the middle of the pandemic. And there's a lot of documentation of a ton of like MAGA influencers and like those fake pastors from the South that claim they had 50 employees and got a $10 million loan from the federal government that was forgiven by the federal government. And it pumped so much money into the economy that created all of the inflation. And other governments and countries did shit like that too to prop up the economy. But because it happened in an election year, Donald Trump was so desperate to stop the job market from cratering, they added so much money into the economy and it made everything more expensive in the ensuing years. And he takes no responsibility for that. None.
Well, he never takes responsibility.
No. No.
Remember,
He's
this
an
is a guy.
amazing president, Don. He's the best. Everybody loves me.
He's the best, but anything that he has to take responsibility for, he doesn't know. He's never heard of it. Just
Right.
like, recently when he responded to me, I don't know him, basically saying he doesn't know me, he doesn't know anything about it. Todd Blanche saying, I don't know if the president ever thinks about Don Lemon. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Oh
where
yeah.
have you been? Were you here for his first term when all he could do every night? I am told by very reliable sources, obviously people who worked in his administration, that he watched me on CNN every single night and he would rage watch, right? And then now apparently they watch because they know what I'm doing. And they are so upset by the growth, apparently, or concerned about the growth of this channel that now they are trying to silence me.
Yes.
So, of course, Donald Trump, but I don't know. That's what he does about everything that he doesn't want to take responsibility for. I have no idea who it is. I've never met her. I do, who? What? David Duke, the head of the KKK? No, I don't. Who is that? I have no idea. Melania. I mean, if Melania was compromised in a way, he'd be like, Melania, never heard of her. You know
Yep.
what I'm
Well,
saying?
and he does the same shit with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, I think it was yesterday or the day before they asked him about Epstein. And he was like, I don't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein. And then he goes, I've never been to Jeffrey's Island. And I'm like, oh, Jeffrey's Island. Is that the colloquial way that we talk about the largest pedophile ring in the country, the largest sex
Mhm.
trafficking ring in the country? Like, you would never call it Jeffrey's Island unless you were friends with Jeffrey Epstein. But this is a crazy stat to me. Just pivoting to the Epstein files is like he's mentioned more times in the Epstein files than Harry Potter is mentioned in the entire Harry Potter series, which blew my fucking mind when I read that yesterday. But like, it's the perfect representation. He's running around going, I'm completely exonerated. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And he's the most mentioned person in these files.
I was just going
Every,
to say, who is the most mentioned? Is it him or Ghislaine Maxwell?
probably Maxwell, but like,
Okay, so it's Epstein because obviously it's about him.
sure.
Glenn Maxwell, and from what they've shared is Donald Trump.
Right. Right. I love the audacity of this White House arguing that Trump has nothing to do with Epstein when he's mentioned over 5,000 times in the files. It seems like every member of his cabinet is referenced or emailing with Jeffrey Epstein at least once, including, by the way, RFK Jr. Epstein talking about the mysterious way that RFK Jr.'s ex-wife died, which I think is pretty interesting to me. Steve Bannon has a bunch of text messages with Trump, with Epstein talking about how to help Trump. Michael Wolff's in there. Melania's there. So like Donald Trump doesn't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein. He just partied with him all the time, is all over the emails. His entire cabinet's emailing with the guy. He met his wife at an Epstein party. Like it's, by the way, Melania Trump, Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriend. That is another thing that came out over the last couple of days. It's just insane to me that we're
No,
not talking about that. Yes.
no.
There was a guy who he teaches at, I want to say he teaches at Cambridge now, and which is not something I would ever admit publicly. I think he was Jeffrey Epstein's biographer for a while, and he mentioned that he wrote a book about Epstein and that Trump made him take out that Melania had previously dated Jeffrey Epstein. And this was like 15, 20 years ago, however long ago it was. It was crazy. I have the video up on my YouTube page. If you want to watch, I'll send it to you.
Well, what does Melania know then?
I don't know. And like Bill and Hillary Clinton are going to testify publicly, I think, in like 2 weeks on what they know. But like, so should Trump and Melania, and so should Bill and Melinda Gates, and so should fucking everybody at this point.
Is this true or is this alleged about them being the girlfriend? Reported.
I mean, alleged by him. I don't know, but I believe they met at an Epstein party. I believe that is something that has been reported
I
repeatedly.
think I heard that at least in the circle and perhaps at an Epstein party,
Yeah,
allegedly. So, but can we talk about that? Because I believe that this is a boss ass move by Bill and Hillary Clinton.
I do
I
too.
think, I think it's like, you know what? Good for you. Because Hillary Clinton knows how to answer questions. Bill's good. You think Bill is still on top of his game?
I mean,
I
I
think
think
he is.
he's not peak '90s Bill Clinton, but I think he's going to be good enough to answer these questions. And like,
Peak
look,
90s Bill Clinton was a bad mother. Shut your
oh
mouth.
my God. I mean, the shit that he got
Ooh,
away with, unbelievable.
I mean,
And
he
that's
was
not praise, by the way. I just, you have to kind of
no,
separate it
it's
out.
praise, but peak Bill was I'm talking about his oratory skills. I'm talking
Mhm.
about
Yep.
his ability to be able to do a press conference, to manage and handle the press and reporters and opponents. I mean, Bill Clinton was a master. Barack
He was
Obama
great.
is good, but I got to tell you, Bill Clinton is the OG.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I like to show my staff the clip of Bill Clinton being asked if he's ever smoked marijuana and him going, yes, I've smoked marijuana, but I didn't inhale.
Didn't
And then
he?
I show them the clip 15 years later of Barack Obama being asked the same question and him going, oh, I inhaled. That was the point.
Isn't that the
Um,
point?
those are my two favorite political answers that I've ever seen to a
I think
politician.
when he said no, they said, "Did you inhale?" And he goes, "Isn't that the point?"
Isn't that yeah,
Like,
something like that.
boom! Yes, we need
Uh,
more of that. I miss those guys. I mean, Barack, man. And when you see them in front, like standing at a podium, you're like, "Now that's a president."
Yeah.
When you see Donald Trump at a podium, you go, "What the fuck is that?
No, it's a used
Why
car
is he
salesman.
there?"
That's what he looks like. He dresses, talks, and acts like a used car salesman. And it's baffling to me. If he wasn't born with this golden spoon up his ass by his father, he would be nothing.
Yo, thank you for that visual.
You're welcome.
So let's talk
I'm
ab
a big hater. I'm a big hater. I hate both of them. I hate Trump and I hate Vance. I might hate
let
Vance more than I hate Trump, to be honest with you.
for real, for real.
Yeah, yeah. I think Vance is the worst type of politician. Somehow worse than Trump.
Why is that?
Because he's just such a little shit bootlicker. Like, he was anti-Trump and then he's pro-Trump. He doesn't believe in anything. Like, he can't even just apologize for like calling Alex Preddy a domestic terrorist. Like, he weasels. He's just a little shit weasel. Somebody in the comments called him a schmuck earlier. So shout out to whoever that was. Like, he's the personification of a schmuck. And
Yeah,
he offers nothing. He offers
we need a
nothing.
new word besides schmuck. I mean, schmuck is good, but it's
I like
there.
bootlicker. Bootlicker is
He's a
my new
new
favorite word.
a schmucklicker.
Schmucklicker. That sounds vaguely sexual. I'm uncomfortable with that.
Well, it is JD.
I mean,
So let's talk.
Don't tell Lindsey Graham. Did you miss that? Did you see the clip of drunk Lindsey Graham on Fox News?
No, I missed
Oh,
it.
I'm gonna text you
He
that
was
after this
drunk.
too. Yeah, he was drunk. I honestly, again, I feel bad for the
What's
guy.
he doing acting like
Yeah,
this?
he was very, what's the right way to describe this? Southern and effeminate sounding? I don't know. But he was like looking up. He's on Fox News and he's going, "Well, I think the administration wants to," like, and he can't look at the camera. Like, it was horribly uncomfortable. And I pray that he gets help. Like, he needs help and Nancy Mace needs help. Did you read that profile?
No,
Oh my God.
I've been, kind of busy. What happened to Nancy Mace?
Well, there was like a big profile of Nancy Mace that came out about her drinking. And she's like
Oh,
obsessively like
well,
drinking all the time. And then she has the audacity to be like, "I have a medical condition that makes it so that I can't drink and I haven't had a drink in like 20 years." And then her own staff just starts leaking photos of her drinking alcohol like all the time. And I'm like, how much of a piece of shit do you have to be where your staff are just repeatedly leaking on you over and over and over again? Just unbelievable.
I look, do you remember when, I was in DC, which I'm gonna go back and start doing it again, but, and I interviewed her, I caught up with her, and she was having a public meltdown,
Hmm.
and it was painful to watch, but
Was that the day you got kicked out of her office and she like accused you of assaulting her
no,
or
no,
something?
that was no, that was, what's her name? The other one.
The Bobert? Marjorie
Marjorie
Taylor Greene.
Taylor Greene.
Oh,
That
Marjorie
was
Taylor
Marjorie
Greene.
Taylor Greene. Same circumstances. I was with a group that was going around the Capitol. They had decided, and I was like, "Okay, we'll go in with them." And then we went to her office, and they're like, "Don Lemon," I'm like, "I did not barge into your office. It was a protest group. I was following them." And so she
Yep.
got upset. By the way, um, Marjorie Taylor Greene is pulling the wool over your eyes. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a terrible fucking person. And
Yes.
anyone who believes this is all political calculation. She has not had some epiphany. She has not had some come to Jesus. This is not an olive branch. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to capitalize on the moment and what's happening in the zeitgeist
Yep.
and Donald Trump's terrible poll numbers to her political advantage. That's all this is.
It's even worse than that. She wanted to run statewide for Senate or for governor in Georgia, and and Mike Johnson stopped her from doing it. And I think the minute that happened, she then read the tea leaves in the polls, and she was like, "I'm going to run for president." And she thinks her best route is to turn solely against MAGA and claim that she's the only real MAGA person left, because she can read the same polls that I do. Like, Trump is wickedly unpopular, and he's been that way since the middle of the summer.
Yeah. Um,
And by the
yeah.
way, she gets no courage from me, no points from me when she retired in the middle of her term that she promised to serve the day that her pension vested.
Yeah, I
So
was gonna say
like
she waited for her pension to vest.
right.
It's like, come on, people. Yeah. At first, I was like, well, I believe people can change, and I want to see her behavior. No, she's a terrible person,
Yes.
and she's a grifter. And how you can't forget all of the shit that she said about Joe Biden and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or me or any, probably you or anybody. She's just awful. And people
Yeah.
who are buying this, come on, I got a bridge to sell you. But the other thing is, I do believe, use her. I think Democrats should use her to
Yeah.
their advantage. They should take advantage of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and even if they don't buy it, wink, wink, nod, nod, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, put her
Yeah,
out
listen,
there
the enemy of your enemy is your friend,
as your
100%.
friend,
And
right?
I'll take any opportunity to wedge some of these MAGA voters out of the movement. And if that means I gotta share a video of Marjorie Taylor Greene every now and again, I will. There's another interesting thing going on, which just been playing out for the last like couple months, is like MTG and Tucker Carlson and like Josh Hawley and a few of these other guys that are like not they're like MAGA adjacent. I would say they're not like full MAGA. They're like a different wing of the party. I don't know what you would call it. Like just talking more and more like Elizabeth Warren on the economy and economic populism. And I think it's something for everybody to keep an eye on, because if Democrats, I think, approach the next election, next presidential election with these sort of like boring corporate policies that we've been embracing for the last like 20 years, we're going to get killed by like a right wing economic populist like Tucker Carlson. And I don't want that to happen because he's a miserable human being on a ton of other issues. But he's starting to talk like Elizabeth Warren. It's a very weird thing to see.
So I'm speaking to Elizabeth Warren a little bit later on today. You think that Tucker Carlson and Josh Hawley and who else?
Marjorie Taylor Greene. You should
Marjorie
go.
Taylor Greene.
I'll send you a couple clips. You should ask Elizabeth Warren what she thinks about it. But like, I'll send you clips where he's talking about like taking on credit card companies and like prediction markets and all this other stuff. And if you removed
That is
him,
Elizabeth Warren's playbook.
yeah,
Go
if
on.
you just looked at the transcript, you would think you were listening to Elizabeth Warren.
Well,
Yeah,
also it's affordability. It's
yeah,
like, wait a minute, who? What are you talking about? Before we, but I want to get to nationalizing the election, but I also want to ask you about, speaking of, about people who are sounding like something other than themselves, and that is all these Manosphere bros now who are
yeah.
saying, I can't believe that Donald Trump is doing what he's doing, and it's clearly a violation of the Constitution, and we've gone over the edge, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You voted for him. I believe you said you did. I wasn't in the voting booth with you, but I certainly have eyes and ears to listen to your podcast or streaming show or whatever it is where you had Donald Trump on and then you talked him up like he was some second coming of Christ. And now you're saying, I can't believe he's doing that. He told you he was going to do it. Like,
Right.
what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, I think there's like three categories of these guys, and I think one is like bootlickers that are like clearly on the Trump payroll, and they're never going to turn on him, and like Benny Johnson's out there, and by the way, Benny Johnson's on the Russian payroll too, by the way, and that's like a proven him and the other guy Tim Pool are just taking money from Russia to spread whatever bullshit that they want, but like these guys can't get off of anything, so they reflexively defend Trump on Alex Preddy's murder and your arrest, and and Epstein and all this other stuff, but then you have these other kind of groups where it's and I would say there's Andrew Schultz out there who I think is genuinely having, and this is my read of it, I don't know the guy. I think he's genuinely having a moment where he understands that he made a mistake. And he's speaking out about it and using his platform to call it out for what it is. And it's not cynical. And then you have guys like Rogan, where like I think Rogan is just kind of is just kind of a dipshit, and is sort of playing that game and trying to keep his audience intact when the nation is turning a certain way. So what we got to do is, it's the same thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene, is like, I might not trust these guys and I'm still mad at these guys, but I'm going to use them to wedge people. So like,
Yeah.
I want to see Democrats go on Andrew Schultz. I want to see them go on Joe Rogan. I want them to poke every hole in the MAGA movement that they can. And just remember that they're not your friends. Like Joe Rogan's not your friend. Andrew Schultz ain't your friend. They're not journalists either. They're just podcasters. They're creating entertainment.
But shouldn't Andrew Schultz, that's his name, Andrew Schultz, right?
Yeah, Andrew
Shouldn't
Schultz.
he just come
Yeah,
out and
flagrant
say,
podcast.
I fucked up
I
and that
mean,
I'm sorry, rather than just insinuating and saying, I
yeah.
can't believe?
I mean, he did a podcast with God, was it Charlemagne the God? It might have been. And I forget who it was. But this weekend he said, like, he said, I'm not going to apologize for having Trump on my podcast, and I'm not going to apologize for supporting him, but I am going to call out what I'm seeing right now as the shredding of the Constitution. And like, I'll take that over somebody being silent. And the thing, I don't know if you probably didn't see this. There was an SNL sketch this weekend, which I'll also send you. I've written everything down, so I'm going to send you like a long ass email of everything that you missed. There's an SNL sketch about a group of a family, like a mom and a dad and like 4 kids, and the mom has like an important announcement to make. And she's like, and I need you guys to not make fun of me. You can't freak out, but I have something that I have to tell the whole family. And she goes, I'm starting to think that I was wrong about Donald Trump. And then the kids are like having a meltdown, and it's great. And there's she keeps telling them like, stop, it needs to be real. Like, leave me alone. Like, let me just tell you my truth. And the dad's like, kids, leave your mom alone. She has an old laptop. She gets a different internet than you do. Just that joke is so real to me, having a MAGA mom with a laptop that's easily 15 years old. But it's good. And what it reminded me, one, it's funny because I think it's parroting the parents, the MAGA parents, but it's also parroting the kids. And like, I think liberals, at least like me, we have to create an on-ramp for people to go, yeah, I fucked up, and be willing to like, let them be like, hey, I'm sorry you got bamboozled, like come back into the tent, we need you. And I know that it's a hard thing to do because I'm pissed off at all these people too, but I need them to win elections, and I need them to moderate this country to a point where like people aren't at each other's throats all the time. And so that's what I liked about that SNL sketch. I thought it was good. I'll
Yeah.
send that to you.
Let's talk about the nationalizing of elections, because I think
Yeah.
that's very dangerous, but also saying that Republicans should take over the election in several different places, and Minnesota being one of them. What the fuck is that? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Well,
And it's not like it's a quiet part out loud. They're just saying it. They're just open with it.
yeah.
That would be a dictatorship. That would be authoritarian rule.
Yeah. Well, and where he said it matters too, because it was on Bongino's podcast. Like he was intentional about where he chose to say that. I think one, we should take what Donald Trump says very seriously about this stuff, because more often than not, you get the media, the corporate media, a lot of times will be like, "Oh, Donald Trump's talking about taking over Greenland," but that's not going to happen. And then,
Never
you know,
gonna, and
we're
then it happens.
right,
Yeah.
and then they
Roe v.
try, and then
Wade will
suddenly
never be overturned, and okay.
and then it
Yeah.
does. And then they act like we're like alarmists when I'm like, nope, I don't know if you've noticed, but everything's crumbling around us and maybe you should
Yeah.
pay attention. So like, I take this shit very seriously. I think the Democrats need to take it seriously. I do think like what happened in Fulton County, which was also last week. So last week was a crazy news week. I think that is about laying the foundation for him to go meddle with a close election, more so than like relitigating 2020. So the scenario that I have outlined on my show a couple times is you have Mary Peltola running for Senate in Alaska. If she wins that race, Democrats firmly take control of the United States Senate, most likely. It's a ranked choice voting election. It's going to be kind of a weird one. And let's say if she wins, it'll be by less than a percentage point, most likely.
Ooh.
And so it'll be close. So now imagine that they fly out a bunch of FBI agents who take the ballots, and then suddenly whoever the other guy is it Dan Sullivan? Dan Sullivan's the senator from Alaska again, instead of the actual elected winner. So I worry about that. And it's why I think for the Democrats, we have to run fucking everywhere. We have to have good candidates who are well organized, who are well funded in as many places as possible to, one, leave absolutely no doubt who won the midterm election, who won the presidential election, but also because they don't have enough people to meddle in every single election. They might be able to like fuck around with one or two, and that's why I worry about Alaska or like Ohio or Texas or something like that, but they can't fight us everywhere. And so that's why I just think like go ham. And if you're out there and you're thinking about running, if you've ever been like, I want to run, this is the year to run, because the public is pissed at the Republican Party. And I don't know if you missed the special election in Texas where Democrats flipped a Trump plus 17 district in a year where, by the way, like 150,000 people voted. So it was a midterm style turnout in that election. If that happens Texas statewide, James Tallarico or Jasmine Crockett will be the next senator from Texas.
Well, Sylvie Monette said same thing, too big to rig, and that's what Mike Nellis is saying right now. By the way, make sure you smash the hearts, whatever platform that you're on, like and follow, and make sure you become a member or subscribe to all of our channels, because that's how we stay independent, and that's how we stay streaming out here on these independent streaming streets, as I like to say. You were talking about if you're going to run now. People have been asking me to run now.
Don Lemon 2028, baby. Let's go.
Can you imagine? What do you think? You guys, I'm going to say, you guys thought Mayor Pete was going to be the Secretary Pete was going to be the first gay president. Maybe it'll be Don Lemon. No.
I mean,
but
stranger things have happened, my friend.
Can you imagine, though? Can you imagine that, Mike Nellis?
You'd be better than the current occupant by a mile.
What do you think? Would you come work on my team?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm not convinced that any person who will be the Democratic Party nominee in 2028 is somebody we're talking about right now. Like, I honestly think the party is so hungry for change, and I could see like a Jon Stewart or a Don Lemon or I don't really want this one, but like Stephen A. Smith, like just somebody that's like wild and out there that just doesn't have any of that Washington, D.C. baggage that connects with people in a very different way. I could see it happening. So like, I'm not trying to bootlick for you, Don, but like, I mean, I think go for it.
No.
Or you could run for Senate in Louisiana. Go back.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But I mean, I think my voice is more important here. I don't know. Maybe.
There's a DC comic that I love where Lex Luthor's running for president, and it's all ploy to attack and kill Superman. And while he's fighting Superman, at one point, Lex Luthor says, do you know how much power I'd have to give up to be president of the United States? And I feel like that's you with your increasing YouTube audience and Substack audience.
Oh my gosh, you're giving me lots to think about, Mike Nellis.
There you go. I'll write you your campaign plan. I'll be your campaign manager.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you next time on. Can we come up with a show? What's the name of the show? What did you want it to be?
I'd slide into your DMs was good. I thought.
Right.
I don't know. I'll email you again, and then you can ignore it because you're so busy.
Goodbye. We'll see you next time. I'll slide into your DMs next week. See you, Mike.
Love you, buddy. Try to stay out of trouble this week, okay? You know, I worry.
Really? Do you really want me to stay out of trouble?
No, I want you to make good trouble.
Yeah. Thank you, John Lewis. Thank you, Mike Nellis. We'll see you later.
Bye, buddy.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.